Hello, Tom Levecki here with the latest edition of the New Theory podcast. Today is going to be a quick monologue on what is Clubhouse. It's an invite-only chat app, so I'll happily explain it and why you should be on it. Now, interesting enough is just to give you a quick background. It is an invite-only app. It's only on iPhone. And what you can do is you can basically listen to another phone call, another conversation. You don't have to... like, for example, you don't got to butt in. You could be a moderator, which you kind of control your room, right? And then when you control your room, you can invite people to speak, invite people to moderate, and it's pretty cool. So basically, it's the old head. And I was called an old head on there. I'm 45 years old, so I guess I'm now an old head on there. But for us old heads, this is basically like the old school party lines back in the 80s. Remember the 900 number? $1 a minute. It was $300. Your mom whipped your ass when the bill came in, and you're never able to go on again. So it's basically a version of that. So here's kind of the gist, right? So you have an app on your phone. You go on it. Again, you have to get invited. So generally, you try. It'll link up with somebody you know. If not, reach out to me, Tom in New Theory. If you're not a creep, I'd be more than happy to sponsor you to get in. It's audio chat only. So basically, you go on, you just listen to conversations. Only, a profile pic for each. When people speak or moderate, there's a little bubble. You can mute if you're a speaker, and then, of course, you could just listen. If you're not invited to listen, that's usually okay. Or you can raise your hand and say, hey, I have a question or pick me. So it's basically a party line. It's basically a way to chat and interact with other like-minded people. It goes by rooms. You could follow people like social media. There's not a like button. There's not, in terms of, sitting there trying to get clout. You literally can just go on. If you're a little shy, you could just listen. If you're a little bit more extroverted, you can go on and you could either lead a room, be in a room, act to participate, and again, talk with like-minded people. It's only on iOS right now, so you can only get it via iPhone. And, can you just sign up? Again, it's you have to be invited. I think some people you need 2 invites. So either way, unless, you have a pretty crappy network, once you sign up, if you especially see somebody who's on it, say, hey, I want to get on. Would you mind sponsoring me? Or when you sign up, it might ping those people to say, hey, I believe it pings them to say, hey, should you recommend Tom or whoever it is? It's great for business. So it's good for networking. I already got a good amount of followers from Instagram. Good for networking. Didn't get any business directly from it, but I have a podcast and I kind of talk directly with some pretty cool people that are not huge celebrities, but Vinny from the Jersey Shore was on there. We're chatting with him. I happen to kind of hang out in a lot of the Italian focus rooms. So, Christina Ricci from Sopranos, and so forth. So it's kind of pretty cool from that perspective. You kind of get, again, some, smaller celebrities, if you will, that are on there, accessible, because people are early adopters. So there's a website. It's called joinclubhouse.com, but you're going to want to do it with your iPhone app. It's not on the iPad as a time of this podcast, and it's definitely something you're going to want to check out. So you're going to want to say, okay, how much of the data does Clubhouse want, right? So obviously, you got to give me your phone number, and then you should give me your real name. That's up to you. You could link your social media profiles. That's up to you. I think that's offering right now Twitter and Instagram, so that makes sense. And and with COVID, it launched in March of 2020, which frankly is probably perfect timing. It's a group. I think Alpha Exploration is a company. They got a $12 million investment to start off. Quickly worth $100 million. 1,500 users right away. I think the latest valuation is north of $1 billion. So it's pretty crazy. 2 years ago, if you said to me, "Hey, what's TikTok?" I would have looked at your watch. I would have looked at my watch. So things move quick, which is good in terms of innovation. Clubhouse is one that I highly recommend for great both personal and professional. It's kind of like a podcast too. So if you're listening to this, you're an audio person. I'm not going to put this on my YouTube channel, but I'm audio. I mean, at least on the audio only YouTube channel. But what I'm saying is, if you're an audio person, you listen to podcasts. I listen to podcasts. I actually listen to YouTube. I put it before I go to sleep or when I wake up. So this is good for you. Be right up your alley. Kind of listen in. Again, if you want to leave quietly, which is pretty cool. And again, it's kind of meaning for podcasts, in my opinion. And it sounds like more like Zoom, but without the video. Are there any downsides? Well, I mean, so, the rooms are, you got to follow community guidelines, and, you have to really understand the dynamic. You got to really understand what's going on. I was in some rooms where it kind of got a little raw, but, at least the ones I was in, it said, hey, here's the topic, and you kind of knew the people in there. So if were like expletives and other stuff, it was consistent with what you would expect. So that's Clubhouse in a nutshell. The invite-only app explained by New Theory, me, Tom LaVecchia. And should you be on it? For me, it works. For you, check it out. Drop me a line, Tom at New Theory. Love to hear about your Clubhouse experience. Thanks for the emails, DMs, and so forth. Our audience is growing, which I super appreciate. And hit me up at Tom at New Theory. Put in the subject line Clubhouse, and love to hear about your Clubhouse experience.